Good morning, everyone. Today I am in conversation with Jeremy Tay. Jeremy is going to be taking us through his journey, his personal journey, as well as places that he has a recollection of from his memory. And it's going to be a very interesting conversation.
I'll try my best.
Thank you so much for being here today, Jeremy.
Thank you.
So, Jeremy, let's start from a little bit about your background. And then I'd like to know a little bit about where you grew up. What kind of neighbors did you have? And if there's anything that comes to mind about your younger days, that would be great.
Sure. I was trained in social work,
Okay.
right? Yeah, so I joined a statutory board that's involved in the community development. And in the course of my work in this area, I also had a chance to work in Outbound Singapore as a director for a period of time. I was also very fortunate to be involved in the training and development of grassroots leaders as the Dean of the National Community Leadership Institute.
Okay.
And I was very excited to also be involved in the promoting, using sports to bond the community. Those were some of the things that I was involved in. And I also was involved in some community community work, voluntary work. I was the founding president of the Morningstar Community Service that's been around now for maybe, I don't know, 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it runs a suite of services to strengthen families and enrich marital relationship. Yeah.
Because I think in being involved in the community and trying to enrich and trying to get the community to be more interactive and the learning process of it, I think is a very extremely important part of your life, I'm
Yes,
sure.
yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your younger days.
I stay in this part of Singapore they call it Hougang now. Used to be called Hougang.
Okay.
In the road called Jalan,
Okay,
right?
which part of Singapore is it?
It's northeast.
Northeast.
Northeast,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
It's in the Hougang area. Near to where Hougang MRT station is. The road is still there actually.
Okay.
But the road has become so much shorter. The name of the road, you can still see the signboard, Jalan Payoh Lai. But it's a much shorter road. In the old days, goes all the way into the rural village, into the Institute of Mental Health. Then you branch off on the right towards Punggol end, not to Upper Serangoon Road, and then you branch off to the left to Yio Chu Kang Road. So was a very long road, right? But it's now a very short road. So I stay in a provision shop. The front was a provision shop, but behind is where my family stayed.
So it was like a shop house.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
a shop house, but a
Okay.
single shop house.
Okay.
And next to my shop house was actually an old folks' home. So those were my childhood days, and I think those were the memorable days of carefree days, running around. Yeah.
And what were your neighbors like? Were there different communities?
In my area, I think we were mostly Chinese
Okay.
neighbors. And yeah, there were a lot of other boys around. And my favorite game I remember vividly, it was hide and seek. And I think I would play hide and seek so many times in a day. In the morning before I go to school, when I reach school, I would still play hide and seek. During recess time, I'll play hide and seek. Then in the evening, I'll play hide and seek until my mother would come and look for me.
Interesting. So at the start, you mentioned something about Punggol End.
Oh, yes.
So can you talk a little bit about that from your memory?
Punggol End is the end of the road called Punggol Road.
Okay.
And that road is still there. I'm so glad that the government have decided to preserve a section of the road, as I think they call it the Heritage Road. Yeah. So you glad that I can still go back there to relive some old memories. So if you go down Punggol Road all the way towards the end, it's now been developed. But in the old days, there would be two buses that would run along that road to the end, bus number 82 and 83, if I remember correctly. And when the bus hit the end of the road, because it can't go any further, there's the sea after that already. Yeah, so it has no choice but to make a U-turn back. I think it's not easy for the driver to try to make a couple of pointed turns to try to turn the bus around. And when you move towards the end, there you will be able to see a restaurant on the left and two other restaurants on the right. I think the more popular restaurants are the two restaurants on the right. And there's one restaurant that's just at the edge of the sea. And the people would like to sit there, have the seafood, and be able to look out into the sea and overlooking Johor Bahru, right? And the restaurant that I used to go to was the one a bit further in than the one next to the sea.
Okay. And why was that? Because you
Well,
preferred
the food was better.
Food was better.
Yes, the food was
Okay.
better.
Okay.
And I think they had satay there. I think that stall restaurant, I think, was the only restaurant that sells satay, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And this is where the famous Nasi Pongo seafood restaurant was. Yeah, and then Pongo came from too.
Okay.
Yeah. This place bring back terrific memories because that would be the place that I would hang out with my college friends, even way into my early 20s. The place to go to when we have gathering.
And how would you commute?
By bus.
Oh, by
Except
bus.
for one occasion when I ran to one of my friends from his house about maybe a couple of kilometers along Punggol Road, all the way to the end of Punggol Road, and we had seafood after that. Oh, that was
So you earned it. You basically
yeah. It was
earned
quite,
it. Yeah.
it's a pretty good run because the road is quite undulating in ups and downs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So can you physically also describe the seafood restaurant? What was it like?
The restaurant was just next to the road. Yeah. So if you look at it nowadays from a safety point of view, that wasn't very safe, especially with the buses trying to
Making
make their
U-turn,
U-turn.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
think of it, it's pretty risky. Yeah. So it was next to the road and it was non-aircon, right? I think it was zinc roof. And basically there is just I think by the side of the restaurant, you will have the starting is satay. And the rest of the food you have to order from the restaurant. And the tables were probably square, I think rectangular tables with old chairs. And usually, I think unless you go during the peak hours, I think you should be able to get a seat. And crab is, of course, the must-have when we were there. Yeah.
And was it chili
Chili
crab?
yeah, chili crab.
Which is
Yeah,
a
must be
Singapore,
chili crab.
yeah,
Yeah.
Singapore specialty.
Yeah.
This Lumina Vitae episode is brought to you by the Bloom Fund, managed by TRCL. The Bloom Fund is an intergenerational initiative dedicated to bridging generations and fostering meaningful connections between seniors and younger communities. By promoting shared experiences and mutual understanding, the fund aims to reduce social isolation, cultivate empathy, and build a more inclusive and compassionate society. Through strategic partnerships and ongoing research, the Bloom Fund continues to champion innovative arts programs that empower individuals to grow together across ages. Which school did you go to, and do you have any memories from your school?
Oh, yes. I went to Montfort Junior
Okay.
and Montfort Secondary. Montfort Secondary especially bring back memories for me. Besides being the school where I had my secondary education, it was also the place that I would go to at night and weekends to do my own private study. Because in the place I live, there's really no place that I could study. Because being a shop house, we are always very busy. And I live upstairs, which is, because it's zinc roof, so it's super hot in the afternoon. There's no way I could study in my room too. And there was once I even cycled all the way towards Punggol Road to climb a tree to try to study. But it was very difficult because the ants would come and get you. Yeah. So Montfort was the only place that I could go to undisturbed. And I would go there to study and until the school closes. So it provided me with a very accessible place that in fact, I would cycle from my house to Montfort School and then study there. And then the evening, then when the school closes, I had to cycle back. And Montfort School was also the place where sometimes after, I think probably my college days, yeah, where I would often meet on Sundays for church group meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I belong to a group called the Young Christian Society, which is affiliated to the Nativity Church of the Blessed Virgin Mary, which is just next to the school. So that's the place where we would have our regular Sunday meetings. Yeah.
So the school really was a very integral part of
Yeah.
your life
And
at the time.
I think to add, probably the other thing about if I were to say what's memorable about the school is that was also the place where I met the Gabrielite brothers. They are a religious order, a Roman Catholic religious order. And there was a particular religious brother, Edmund James, who has passed away just a few years ago, who taught me catechism and who eventually became my godfather. Yeah. And I think he was the one that inspired me very much about take up social work later on.
How important do you think are the memories of the old Singapore that need to still reflect somewhere and for the younger generation to have more of an understanding of? I know that this particular series and this particular project, that's the main objective, is for seniors to revive how they lived and what are the different kinds of situations or spaces that impacted their lives for them to become the way they have today, including yourself. So what kind of an impact do you think these kind of conversations will have on the younger generation?
I recognize that every generation would think that the newer generation has it easier than the older one. But I still think that the newer generation need to recognize that things are not what it is today by itself. It's through a lot of hard work of the older generation. It's through the tenacity of the people who work together and things that they take for granted. Even the flushing of the toilets. Today, you just flush the toilets and everything works.
Yeah.
But during our times, it was not easy. Like we had my toilet was just, to give an illustration, my toilet was just outside my house. And it was quite a challenge at night trying to get there. Quite scary because when you're young, you're scared of ghosts, etc. Just pluck out the courage just to go there. And once you're there, the stench
Yeah.
of those who were
But
before
it was
you.
common?
Yeah, it
Common
was
for the
no,
area?
it was for my house.
Only for
yeah,
your
yeah, so my
house.
house.
Okay.
It wasn't a communal outlet. Yeah, but it's better now because
Yeah.
the guy who come and collect the feces and all that comes only once a couple of days. So towards the end of that period, the all would have added up, and the smell would be quite horrible. And I'm so glad that at one time I tried to smoke because that's what we all do. That's what the people at my time used to do, to smoke so that they can get rid of the smell. I tried once and I didn't like it. I'm glad I didn't like it, so I never pick up smoking. But you will only appreciate what you have when you have gone through experiences like this. That things don't just happen, and that you need to also appreciate what the older people have gone through. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you share a lot of your memories with your kids and your grandkids? And how
Oh.
receptive are they to listening to your stories?
Yes, I think they are receptive. My only regret is that I don't have photos of my old house, of the jamban, for the toilet, for example. And I would love to tell them many more stories. So I try to share as much as I can from the memories that I have.
Yeah.
My granddaughter, for example, she's very sweet and she's always very eager to hear. So I think a project like this, for the photos, etc., will really help grandparents and parents to be able to share stories of what life was like. So I think then having a better appreciation of past, I think we have to root them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's very important because you're absolutely right. Every generation has evolves and modernization happens with technology and all of that. But I think the memories from, and as you mentioned, what your life would have been like growing up is something which only you will be able to experience, feel, talk about. And if it just stays within you, then there's no point. So I think sharing is so important. Even the joy, simple joys of life, which you may have experienced. And thank you for being a part of this project.
Thank you for having me.